So we're talking today about our software deep dive, and Tigerpaw obviously is a very well-respected, well-known provider in that category area. Hence, immediately in doing this deep dive, we thought, let's connect with Tigerpaw, let's connect with you, James. Let's start with business automation software. Can you describe why it's important to invest in business automation software, especially right now when economic times are a little bit rocky, and when it's especially important for organizations to try to realize cost savings and bolster profitability, when they can't simply be on autopilot and they have to be a little bit more nimble and a little bit more thoughtful?
It's a great question. And you mentioned about our reputation. This is our 39th year in business. So my father started Tigerpaw in 1984. I've been running it for about 12 years now, a second generation. And this question has been around since as long as we have, right? And one of the things I would say is, well, when are you going to do it? Are you going to wait till times are really good and the money's flowing, but all your people are absolutely buried with jobs? The reality is there is no optimum time to do something like this. This is implementing something like Tigerpaw is what Stephen Covey would put in his category 2, right? Important, but not urgent. And I would argue even urgent, it gets ignored. Our number one competitor isn't another software company. Our number one competitor is inaction. Most of the people that don't buy Tigerpaw that we talk to, if we come back a year later, they haven't bought anything. So timing, it's never an easy thing. It's an investment in money. It's an investment in effort. But the value, if you're running on a system like Tigerpaw today, oh my gosh. First of all, one of the things that I've learned about a system like ours is the peace of mind and knowledge. I've always been a big believer, whatever the facts are, I don't care, but let's talk about the facts. If they're ugly, they're ugly. We figure out our best path forward. But one of the most uncomfortable places to be in as a business owner is not knowing the facts. So the thing about Tigerpaw is you've got all of your data. You have the profitability for your clients. You have the time of your technicians and where they're spending that time. So you've got all of this information in one place. So you know the facts. And to me, that's a huge component in dealing with recessions that we've dealt with in the past. You're also things like you've heard about the Great Resignation and people worried about laying people off. With Tigerpaw, everything's in the system. So if you've got a technician decides to flake on you tomorrow and not show up, you still have all the notes in your system of everything they were working on and everybody they was talking to. So you can keep carrying on. So when we talk about profitability and cost savings, all of that takes place in so many different levels. We really don't like to talk about replacing people. I'm not a big component of, hey, implement our product and you can have less people, because people need jobs and people are great. What I think is important is taking the redundancy, the stuff that a software can do. There's no reason to have a human being do it, right? What that does is it frees up the human being to be able to spend their unique talents and energy in providing value to your organization in ways that only they can. So I know it kind of skirted the whole thing, but in order to be really profitable and scalable and to have a defensive position in something like the current economic crisis, you've got to put things in place that take out the guesses, take out the randomness, and get you moving away from making decisions with your gut and allowing you to make decisions with data. There's no best time to do it except for as soon as you can make it happen.
Right. I mean, and that's a really powerful value proposition. The idea that you don't have to rely on gut instinct, that you're not going to have chaos or randomness. There's going to be an intentionality, a thoughtfulness in your actions, and you're going to reap the results thereof.
As we scaled up, because we're a fairly decent sized organization today, especially compared to where we were, I had a CEO coach. I hired a coach. And one of the things that he impressed on me early on is your gut serves you well when you're smaller, and your gut saves your life at times, but you cannot run an operation at scale and you cannot grow if you're trusting your gut. Because the simple fact is your gut doesn't have enough data. So having the data absolutely lets you make better decisions and sleep better at night, which is, at Tigerpaw, our mission is to help people run a better business and sleep better at night. And it's not an accident that those two are together.
Yeah, 100%. So let's talk a little bit about some of the specific benefits that software like Tigerpaw can provide. And I'm thinking in particular about kind of tech utilization efficiency. The idea that the software can result in better inventory management, better time tracking, those kinds of aspects. Do you want to dig a little bit into those?
Sure. We could spend time talking about every area in the company. One of the cool things about Tigerpaw is we touch every operational area, but I think technician time tracking is a great example. I am still amazed at how many people come to us for a solution where their technicians are tracking time on paper and they're only required to turn them in once a week. It's just like, I mean, that's a horrible thing to do. First of all, they usually don't get them once a week, right? You go to get them and then you have to track them down and they're not accurate and they can't remember what they did five days ago, let alone, 5 hours ago. And the first time we did a mobile solution for time tracking, I talked about it. I think this was in a Chicago or Dallas event. I remember somebody coming up with their phone and they waved it in my face and they said, finally, I can fire them. I was like, whoa. What do you mean fire them? He says, I've got technicians that will not turn in their time. There's always an excuse. What you've given me now is no excuse because they can track their time in real time as they're doing the work. And I had to get past the firing, but I get what he's saying. It's accountability, right? If you're not accurately tracking your time, you're not holding people accountable. You're not effectively using them. I'll swear you're not effectively using them. You're not getting credit for that. And I'll give you an example of so many managed service providers, people that are doing managed services, right? So, as an integrator, maybe you're charging instead of an environment where you're just charging them hourly to do things. Maybe you got them on monthly contracts. One of the biggest challenges we see is visibility, because if you're doing your job really well, the client tends to think that you're not doing anything because things are just working, right?
Right.
So by tracking time, you can, even if it's against a contract and you're not billing the client, at least you can still show that client, here's all the work that we've done for you. And so what happens when you start tracking time with a system like Tigerpaw, where you're tracking it in real time through a mobile solution or the desktop, is you go from capturing maybe 50 to 60% of the time to capturing all the time. Then you start looking at your utilization and you start to realize, holy crap, I may be at 50 or 60% utilized. In other words, 50 to 60% of the time the technicians are spending is actually bona fide time that is billable or goes against a contract. So then we start talking about how we up that. And you can do things like put spiffs in, right? Hey, if you can hit 80% on your usability, we'll give you spiffs. Why? Because the company is going to grow out of that. So you have the ability by first measuring it, then to start incentivizing and then improving it. And then you can start doing some really cool things. So if you're tracking time by the type of work done, such as programming, for example, well, you can start to figure out who's doing what types of work, and you can start cross-training. You can do service order templates. So in Tigerpaw, what's really great is you can make a service order template, say to program a certain device. Maybe that right now it requires a level 2 or 3 tech to do that level of work. But if you create a template with step-by-step instructions, you now let a level 1 tech do level 2 or 3 techs level work. So you can start sharing that knowledge and start floating all the boats, so to speak. So just that one example about if you're not capturing time in real time, it's way more than just capturing the time. It's capturing that time and having that intelligence to improve what you're doing, share the knowledge, up that actual productive time, and make more money and keep your clients happier. So that's just one example of what you can do with the time tracking.
And the upping of the productive time is so important. As you said, I mean, it is not as though we're looking to find ways to eliminate people. What we're looking to try to do is find ways to increase efficiency and get more done, even if we have the same number of employees. And the sense that I get is a solution like Tigerpaw, this kind of software, can actually result in integrators getting more done, even if they keep the number of heads on the team exactly the same. They can just be much more efficient and much more effective.
Absolutely dead on. Absolutely dead on. So you're going to put some time up front to implement it, right? You're going to decide what pieces to roll out. You're going to go through training on our part. We've got training resources that you get included. We've got academies. You're going to put some time in. But then what happens is that comes back to you tenfold, and it comes back to you consistently, regularly, every day as you're a more efficient organization. And we didn't talk about the inventory, where we can actually show you all of your distributors, if they're supported by Tigerpaw, who's got something in stock and what is the lowest price and what is the time to get to you. And so we can save you money in your ordering. So all these efficiencies start to layer without ever having to touch your headcount.
So let's go back to kind of where we started. As you said, when is a good time to make an investment? Is it going to be when you have so many jobs you don't know what to do? Or is it going to be now when some companies are looking to retrench? I think the answer is to do it now. If an integrator is thinking about investing in an end-to-end business management platform like Tigerpaw, they're not sure, well, should I do it now? Should I do it next year? Should I do it in a different time? Why would you say inaction at this moment is not an option?
So Dan, first of all, unfortunately, it always is an option, right? I always get a little pandemic there. You can do nothing, but for your longevity, that's probably a horrible decision. I will tell you, our #1 sales quarter every year in 38 years, 39 now, is Q4, and our number one sales month is December. The majority of people end up, they get to the end of the year, right? A lot of our clients and integrators, you're looking at a really busy, you're coming out of a very busy time into Q1, which is typically slower, right? You're setting aside your budget right now for next year. So it's a good time when to make a commitment for something like Tigerpaw. So I would argue right now is an incredibly good time as you're winding down this year and you're going to have some of that lull in Q1. This is the time to do that, right? And this is what we talk about, working on your business as opposed to working in your business. So then in action that you're talking about, you're going to work just as hard tomorrow and you're going to get less done than if you put the effort in to implement a system like Tigerpaw in the future. You're going to get more done. So I personally think with everything going on in the world right now, if you don't have a system like this is the time to put it in place.
So I think you've given us a lot to chew over, a lot to think about, James. Is there anything that you have not had an opportunity to discuss, or any benefit you've not had an opportunity to elucidate that you would like to touch on briefly?
Oh my gosh, there's so much our product does. I think I'd like to reiterate the part about, the recession numbers. We just saw that Meta just did a huge layoff, 11,000 people, right? And we saw what Twitter is doing. I mean, things are insecure today, right? And so anything that you can do in your business to become more secure. We're a profitable company. We're looking at our expenses right now. Is there something we don't need to spend money on? We're also looking at, is there things we should be spending money on that we're not today, right? In other words, what are the investments that we can make to help ensure not only our survival, I believe we're going to survive, but how to thrive, right? One of my great quotes comes out, Dale Stein is a friend of mine. He said, chaos breeds opportunity. We are in a time of chaos. That opportunity will come out of this, not while we're in it, but we've come out of these recessions before, right? 2008 and Y2K and all this stuff. You got to be poised to take advantage of that when it happens. So if you think that you're going to make these big changes when things start to get better again, you're going to be too busy working in your business to work on your business. So I, again, would contend, work on your business today, put yourself into a position of strength. Warren Buffett says, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful, right? Think about what's coming, not just what's here today, but in 6 months and 12 months as this pops up, and prepare your organization, whether it's Tigerpaw or something else, but be thinking about when it comes roaring back, as it always does, are you going to be ready to take advantage of that? And so it's less of a pitch about just Tigerpaw, but just thinking about your organization in ways to be ready to take advantage of the good stuff when it comes.
Very, very well said. And I think it's really a profound idea, even beyond the conversation we're having. Don't be so busy working in your business that you neglect ever to work on your business.
On it.
I think it's a critically important point. And I think recognizing the importance of business automation software is right up there at the top of the list. Thank you so much, James Foxall, President and CEO of Tigerpaw, for joining me today. I really appreciate the opportunity to learn from you and talk to you and educate our audience about the importance of business automation software like Tigerpaw.
Absolutely, Dan, again, thank you. And if there's anybody that hears this that's got questions, not just about Tigerpaw, but about business in general, if there's any way I can be of value, I'm available. I love to help out. So thank you.
My name is Dan Ferrisi, Editor-in-Chief with Commercial Integrator. Please check back regularly on commercialintegrator.com for more informative and enlightening content just like this. Have a great day.